Hi, my name's Will Dean. I'm the author in the forest. Today we're talking how to get a literary agent. I'm here alone in the Swedish moose forest. Just to give you some context, I'm a published author. I live in Sweden in the center, in a tiny clearing of a huge moose forest. I live with my wife and my little boy and my giant cat that looks like a raccoon. But that's beside the point. Today we're talking about literary agents. I have a fantastic literary agent, so I can give you some kind of insight, some kind of story about how to get one of these guys. It's really like a beautiful team when it works at its best, and they are super duper important. Today I'm going to give you 5 tricks how to get a literary agent. They're not even tricks, to be honest, they're just steps. Things you need to do, things that I did a few years ago. And then right at the end of the video, I'm going to give you one super tip. Which is more of a mind trick, something that really helped me on those difficult kind of rejection months and years that every single writer goes through. It's totally normal, and I'm going to give you one super mind trick to help you get through that. Number 1, you need to read a lot. Now this sounds kind of flippant and annoying, but you need to read a lot of books. If you want to be a writer, you need to read a lot. It doesn't matter if you didn't read a lot as a kid. I myself did. I was a real bookworm, but through my teenage years, I went through loads and loads of stages of not really reading anything. It's totally normal if you have a gap of reading, but if you want to be a published author, if you want to get an agent in a couple of years' time, start boosting your reading now. Stephen King talks about this really well in On Writing, which I really recommend you get to read. It's a good book about being a writer, being in that writer mindset, and it's great on the craft of writing. He has this thing, like he likens it to a toolbox, which is really good, and you need your different tools. You dip inside your toolbox, you get your tools, you write your book, but you need to read a lot. What I did when I moved to the forest, which was like 7 years ago, I used to live in London. I quit TV for a few years, I think for 4 years. My wife was not really happy about it. But we quit TV for 4 years, and that really upped my reading game. I started reading a lot more. I also started reading better. Made a huge effort about 7 years ago to read a lot more women. Probably read 70% women. A lot more diverse voices. I wanted to read a lot. I wanted to read stuff that was going to improve my writing, that was going to blow me away. I upped my reading from like 30 books a year to over 100. And I found that I needed to read 100 books in order to find like 10 great books. And I need to read those 10 great books in order to find like the 2 books that really changed me as a writer, that I really learnt a lot from. But you need to get in the habit of reading a lot. Read books that are zeitgeisty. Read books that you see in the media. Why are people shouting about these books? Just so you know about them, you can talk about them if you end up having coffee with an agent, you know what the book is about. But also read books written 100 years ago. Read books written in Thailand or in Mozambique or in Uruguay. Just read stuff that other people are not reading as well. Number two, write the book. Like, this sounds flippant as well. I don't want to sound annoying and be like, just write the damn book. But you kind of have to write the book. And life gets in the way. Let me tell you a story about me writing Dark Pines, which is my first book. Come on! That came out last year. I wrote that a few years ago, 4 years ago, when my little boy was like a year old. And he was supposed to go to this forest school in another forest, and they didn't have space for him, or he wasn't ready. So we delayed him for like 6 months. But I still had to write my book. I wanted to write my book. My book was there in my head. I was visualizing it. I needed to get it out. So what I did was I wrote in his naps. And thank goodness he was a good napper. He at that point in his life, he napped like 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon. That was my writing time. So what I did was I wrote for 2 hours in the morning. In his nap, I wrote for 2 hours in the afternoon. After a month, I came out with a first draft. 6 months later, that book was ready to go off to agents. It got me an agent. I'll talk more about that process, my personal story of getting an agent in another video. And then it got me a publishing deal. So write the book. Everyone's life is difficult. You've got kids, or you've got an elderly parent you're looking after. You're working one job, you're working two jobs. You're tired. Everybody has something, and you don't have to write fast. You know, if it takes you 10 years to write the book, that's fine. You've written the book. You know, if you really got a book inside you and you want to write the book, make time somehow. Quit television for a while. I quit Radio 4 for a few years, which was really tough. I was an addict, and it really helped me. You know, I stopped reading magazines and stuff. I just read books and I wrote. Write the damn book. Okay, number 3. Tip number 3. Tip number 3 is, if you have zero connections in the publishing world, like I did. I didn't know anybody. I live in a moose forest. You know, I live in a forest, a bog in a different country, so I didn't have any connections in the publishing world whatsoever. And most people don't, right? So if you don't have any contacts in the publishing world, you probably don't know how publishing really works. I certainly didn't. My biggest tip is get on Twitter, Instagram, whatever you like to use. I think Twitter's probably the best for the publishing world. Follow a bunch of agents, follow a bunch of editors, and over time you'll just glean some stuff, some facts, some useful insights into the publishing world. Follow some authors as well. Follow some debut authors maybe. They're generally quite vocal, and I'll talk about what's going on with them. So follow agents. When I was trying to figure out if my book was ready for agents, how to submit to an agent, I followed a literary agent called Juliet Mushens. I'll link to her Twitter down below. She's at Mushenska, I think, on Twitter. And she was just she is a very cool agent, but also super generous. So she did a thing, and other agents did it too, called Ask the Agent, hashtag Ask the Agent, I think it was. And through that hashtag, which you can still search on Twitter, I would suggest you do, I learned so much. Whether to resubmit if you found a big mistake halfway through your submission pages. How to submit. Should you send an email? Should you send an attachment or send the work in the body of the email? Should you post it? Things like that. So go back, look through that hashtag. That's really useful. But follow a bunch of different agents. I followed my agents. Some great agents are not that interested in Twitter, you know. My agent, Kate Burke at Blake Friedman, link down here, is amazing. I love working with her. We're a fantastic team, I think, together. Some big agents are on Twitter, some are not. But if you look there, you'll find out more about the publishing world. Number 4, submit your work. When it comes to the point where you've written your full book, you've polished it, it's as good as you can get it to be, take the plunge, submit your work. You need to follow... I skipped number 3. Wait a second. Number 3. Follow the guidelines. So this is something really important. Like, agents have zero free time. They are really busy people. My agent receives dozens, hundreds of... I'm sorry! My agent receives hundreds of submissions every month, coming through all of the time. But she's still like working for her clients. Like, she's got a list of different clients, all different genres, and she's working for us, you know. She's trying to get us foreign rights deals. She's trying to put TV stuff together. She is editing manuscripts. She's kind of whetting the appetites of different editors, so that when she does submit for the London Book Fair or the Frankfurt Book Fair, I'll talk a lot more about book fairs in a whole separate video, then she's busy. Like, she's doing all that stuff. She's constantly working. She doesn't sit there in her office in London and think, I've got an hour now, I'm going to go through some submissions. Like, she's just on the phone, over email, face-to-face meetings all day long. She will read through your submissions, like on the in a cab on the way home, or walking home, or on the tube or something. Like, she has no time to just carve out space from her business day and read your submissions. So the best thing is to follow their guidelines. If you don't follow the agent's guidelines, it's likely they're just going to kind of just delete your submission or just ignore your submission straight away. Because, I mean, for one, it's just like, it's a pain in the neck for them to deal with this thing which is not submitted in the right way. But also, like, you haven't taken the care and the effort to read the submissions. What are you going to be like potentially as a client to work with? Do you know what I mean? So just make it easy for them. Follow the submissions guidelines. First 10,000 words, you know, submit 9 to 11,000 words. Don't submit 50,000 words just because you think it's great. They're not going to read it. Don't submit 2,000 words. You know, where's the rest? Where's the other 8? Submit 10,000 words. If they want a cover letter, most of them do. I will do a separate video just on cover letters, and we'll talk you through my cover letter that got me an agent. Follow, like, the guidelines. You know, if they want to know what genre it is, comparative titles, if they want to know the word count, put that in the cover letter. Most of the time, they won't give you strict instructions on the cover letter, so you need to do your research and you need to work out what you want to put in there. But this is my overall tip on a cover letter. Make it really, really concise and punchy. They don't have time for like a 5-page cover letter. Should be 1 page, in my opinion. Should be like a very, very short introduction saying the title of the book, the genre, maybe the word count, a little bit about where the book fits into the market, and then a little tiny bit about you. And like, if you've been published before. I had not been published before, so don't worry if you have not been published before. But like, if you've won a prize, a short story prize, or where you live in the world, what you do, if you have a dog. Maybe leave that out, I don't know. And then just keep it short and concise so they can just go boom, 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 boom. Yep, that sounds like a reasonable thing. Rather than like, oh my God, he's gone and talked about all this stuff about his Xbox. And just follow, please follow the guidelines. Number 4, seamlessly. I'm going to pretend to write 4 because I've already done it. Number 4, submit the book. Submit your novel to the agent. And then, like, keep busy. Keep working on the idea for the next book, or keep researching, or look for the next batch of agents you're going to send to. What I would say here is, like, don't submit to your dream agent and then wait for 3 years. It's not a good idea. What you think might be your dream agent might turn out to be someone who's just about to leave agenting, right? So don't get all head up over one agent. Have a list of, say, 20 of your top agents, and the general wisdom is that you send off in batches of 5. So you send 5 agents, then you wait a little bit of time, send to another 5 agents, wait a bit of time, send to another 5 agents. I didn't do that. I'll tell you my whole story in another video, but I basically wrote a terrible book before my published book, Dark Pines. I wrote a terrible book which is locked in a drawer forever. And I learned a lot through submitting to agents through that bad book. This is very common. Like, it's not always that your first book is going to be your big breakout success story. So what I did was I submitted to 20 agents off the bat. And just to give you some stats really quickly, I got 10 requests for the full manuscript, and then I got like 3 offers of representation and 2 other possible. So that's how it can be, and that will happen within a few weeks of submitting. But you need to do that. You need to do that scary thing of like sending the book off. Oh, and one other thing, don't try and get the agent to sign an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, a confidentiality contract, or anything like that. Like, these guys are professionals. There's no need to get them to sign something. Just send them the damn book. Okay, number 5. Number 5 is keep submitting. Do not let the first rejections get to you. You might send off your book and you might be like, I think I'll get rejections, but in the back of your mind you're like, this is a New York Times bestseller. And then the day after you get a rejection, and it's just a standard form rejection saying, sorry, we're not interested. Don't let that put you off. That's fine. Keep submitting. Keep submitting. Keep submitting. Your top 20 agents aren't interested. Keep submitting. Keep submitting to more and more and more agents. Send it to every agent out there. You need one agent to fall in love with your book. Don't feel like you need 10 people to offer representation. You need one agent who falls in love with your book. That's all you need. Okay, finally, secret hack. Secret hack. This is what I use to get me through those tough rejection times, okay? What I did was I said to myself, I'm going to get rejected 100 times. 100 times. And after that 100, I will get an agent at some point. So then I had this kind of built-in mindset that I'm going to get rejected 100 times. That's fine. 100 is going to, I'm just waiting for 100. You know, I got rejected 4 times. That's fine. I'm on my way to 100. I'm on my way to 100. It's like I was fooling myself or something. And that way, you don't feel bad when a rejection comes in. It's totally normal. You're expecting them. You're on your way to 100. It worked for me. Like, it got me through those difficult times. Rejection sucks, and you'll get rejected over and over again. Even when you're published. Even if you're a superstar author, sometimes your editor will reject your manuscript. Sometimes a foreign publisher will reject your work. Totally normal. Write the next thing. Guys, I hope that's been useful. If you enjoyed this, please hit the subscribe button. Please like this video and press the little notifications bell, and then you'll get to see more. Okay, thank you very much. I've been Will Dean Forrest, author. See you soon. Bye.